Um, how many people in the room are parents? Like to most of you. God bless your soul. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever had the look on your face of utter failure and showed it to your children? Now, I'm not talking about the failure like you lost your job and you can't pay the bills or your failure to like meet their expectations. I'm talking about you looked at your offspring and realized you shared half of their chromosomes and you have failed to make them into a productive human being. Okay? Well, my mother showed me that face when I was 9. I'm walking through the kitchen and I'm humming. She goes, Mike, what is that song? And I go, that's Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, Mom. And she just knee-jerk kind of goes, how does that go? And I go, rolling down the street, smoking endo, sipping on gin and juice. And that face came across as she stopped cutting the cantaloupe in our white middle-class suburbia and looked at her child and wondered where that came from. Somehow, between the ages of 7 and 8, I fell in love with the urban exposure that was boom bap hip hop in 1992. I don't know how it happened. I caught snippets on UMTV Jams. When the dial went past the urban radio stations, I caught a little bit, but somehow I became totally fascinated with the entire culture. So much so that I was insatiable, which is a problem when you're 7, 8, 9 years old, because there's no way to get it. This is before Al Gore invented the internet, okay? You couldn't Google your life away, all right? I had to sneak around and try and find it. If I went to the store to try and buy it, granted if I had any money, they wouldn't sell it to me because the RIAA said you have to be 18 to deal with those themes and that type of language. Well, fuck them, all right? God damn it. So I started stealing tapes and CDs from the wall, all right? Hordes of them. Lots and lots of them, because I wanted them all. I would get them home, I would memorize the lyrics, and then I would go to school and share with my friends, okay? And my friends would be like, yo, Mike, what came out this week? And I'd be like, the new Tribe Called Quest, so what scenario? And they'd be like, get me that. So I'd sell it to them. I became an entrepreneur of some sort. But no, really, I was in love with the art and the culture. I don't know why. I was a terrible student, historically terrible, that drove teachers absolutely insane. But I had one teacher who in 7th grade actually recognized that if he took me out of the 7th grade curriculum and didn't make me read White Fang for the 17th time, and he gave me something that challenged me, I would behave. So he would feed me Dostoevsky and Chekhov, and I would sit there in the back of the class going, my parents got an issue with gangster rap, wait till they meet the fucking Russians. And so, Jesus, those people fucked up. But naturally, I would sit back there every day and I didn't have to do the regular work, and I behaved, and he kind of found the way around the things. One day he had emergency appendectomy and couldn't come into class, and he didn't leave instructions for the substitute that I was to be treated differently. And I had an issue with this. So in walks this 22-year-old, fresh out of teaching school with a sparse goatee with red hair, and his name is Richard Winterbottom. Okay? Now Richard Winterbottom needed to hire a PR firm to handle his first 10 minutes of class because he wasn't smart enough to realize if he just wrote all the variations of his name on the board, it would have taken the air out of the balloon. But no, Dick Winterbottom went to the board and wrote Mr. Winterbottom and underlined it 3 times, and I said, game on, homie. Dick was not going to let me be different than everybody else. So every time I looked at him, I came up with a variation. He was frosty ass, he was slippery butt, it didn't matter. Every single time I addressed him, it was some play on words of Winterbottom. I didn't know his first name was Dick at the time, I learned that later. I would have incorporated it somehow. He hands out sheets of paper and says, everybody used to write a haiku. I'm not writing a haiku, all right? I go up to Dick Winterbottom and I tossed a piece of paper, I said, yo, Frosty, ain't happening. He hands it back to me and says, you're writing a haiku. So fine, I go into the back of the class and I doodle over the paper for 15 minutes. Everybody was supposed to come up in front of the class and share what they had written, okay? So he calls me. I traipse to the front of the room, and I wish 26-year-old Mike had the ability to talk to 12-year-old Mike at that time. Because 26-year-old Mike knows that you need to minimize damages, okay? If you're in a committed relationship and you go to a strip club, you can minimize the damages the next morning by telling your girlfriend, you know, I had to go, my friends made me, but I never sat down. Now all of a sudden, it's not what you were looking at, it's what you were doing, and if you're not sitting down, bad things can't happen. Well, 12-year-old Mike couldn't minimize damages. I opened a sheet of paper that had nothing but a bunch of Wu-Tang symbols written on it. And I looked straight into Frosty Winterbottom's eyes, and I went to the most vile rap song I had memorized. And I looked at him and I said, fuck it, when I die, I want to go to hell. The first verse of Biggie's Suicidal Thoughts. He gave me that face that my mother had given me, except 10 times more excruciating. He looked like he had eaten some fermented fruit and gotten kicked in the nuts. And he went over to the phone and dialed some number. Quickly, I was rushed to the principal's office. I thought it was a regular disciplinary action. No, he had dialed 911 because he thought I was suicidal and crazy. The police searched my locker, found stolen CDs and a wad of money that I had been gotten from selling CDs to kids. And my parents came and they didn't give me the failure face, they gave me the disappointed one. Because obviously I had no discretion to handle the themes that I was taking in at all times. We went home later that week and they made me a deal. They took away all my rap CDs in exchange for a PlayStation, which I was happy. But I make rap music today, sort of for a living, so it's not failure anymore, I guess. So.